Jeremiah, welcome. Welcome to the Blockmaster Forum webinar. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. I know that you have great things to share with us about Thorium Network and about all the Thorium initiative. You're gonna have 20 minutes to present your presentation and share all the information about the Thorium Network with all the Brazilian and foreign attendees in the forum. Okay? Thank you very much to be with us. We're gonna have two rooms here, one with the original sound in English and another one with the translation. Okay, so there'll be people listening at you in English and in Portuguese. Okay, enjoy your time. 20 minutes for you. I'll get back in 20 minutes. Okay, good luck.
Thank you very much, Rubens, for that magnificent introduction, and greetings to Brazil and to the world. This is one of the rare opportunities that we get to express what we're doing with our project, and it's really exciting to be doing it in Brazil because Brazil has one of the largest deposits or reserves of thorium in the world. The irony is you need very little thorium to make enormous amounts of energy, but that's the way it is. So I'm going to give my presentation now. It'll take about 8 minutes, 10 minutes, although I could talk for hours on the subject. I love it. But I'm quite open for questions that may come through as well. Now, I'm just going to, will you guys be switching the pages for me, or will I do that for myself? A quick question there for Ryan. Looks like I'll do it myself, no worries. So, great. We're talking about energy production. We're talking about climate change mitigation. We're talking about using technology of the 21st century for something that we need on a daily basis, and that's energy. We need energy more importantly than we need food. We need energy to make food. Before money, we need energy to make money. So energy is number one, and that's something that's been close to my heart for many, many years. And I've always been interested and intrigued by a subject called thorium molten salt. That's something that was developed back in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, where billions of dollars were spent to identify that this really was a fantastic, clean, green energy system. And that's where we are now. We have a really big hurdle coming up ahead of us in the next 20, 30 years. And that's despite 20 years of work in the renewable so-called green area, particularly in wind and solar. They're proving to be unsustainable. When you look at the land that you require, the forests you have to cut down, the mines you have to build simply to match the energy production from what you get from fossil fuels, it's just too much, and we can't afford it. We need to make much more denser forms of energy production, and thorium is the most dense out of anything we have on the planet. It's really amazing. Particularly thorium in the molten salt form. I want to emphasize that. Whenever I say thorium, I'm always saying thorium molten salt. It's how you make energy from thorium. So without our project, without our efforts, the world would be increasing its production using nuclear by maybe only 1% over the next 30 years. We intend to make 10% of the world's energy using thorium over the next 30 years. Not just ourselves, of course. We need the support of everyone on the planet. And that's the idea of our project. We're not just focused in one country, although we are based in Switzerland. We have operations everywhere. At the moment, we're busy in South Africa, Australia, Netherlands, soon to be Brazil. So, and we intend to be everywhere in the world that we need to be to reach our target. Now, what is thorium molten salt? It's an energy source, just like if you're using any other energy source. It's the details can get quite tricky, and if you want to go into, for instance, how gasoline is an energy source, how you break those carbon molecules apart and release that energy. The same thing happens with thorium in the fission process. it's cleaner, it's safer, it's proven. I mentioned that at the start of my presentation. There were billions of dollars in today's dollars and millions of man hours invested into this technology in the 1950s and 60s and early 70s before it was stopped. And there's lots of reasons for it stopping. One is it has such a huge impact against the oil industry and against the existing nuclear industry for that matter as well. You can't make weapons from it, and its energy density is huge. So literally overnight, we can change the way we generate our energy. We're going to put thorium on a blockchain. We can use that today. Blockchain has been proven over the last 10 years to be totally secure. And I love the example of Bitcoin. Bitcoin protocol has never been hacked, and there are billions stored in Bitcoin and transferred every day in Bitcoin. So we're going to do the same with thorium. Blockchain brings trust, transparency, and security. These things are equally as important when you're managing nuclear energy as when you're managing your finances, and that's what we intend to do. And we will create a new energy economy, and we'll take the energy control away from the idea that it's been managed by a government. In the past, it's been a good thing. Weapons, I'm not an advocate for nuclear weapons at all, and we are very clearly separating the production of energy from fission and that of the past, where it was often tied up with weapons production as well. So the Thorium Network, we're an innovative leader. We go everywhere and anywhere. We recently gave evidence to a Victorian Parliament in Australia about why they should change a law from 1983 to allow the use of thorium and uranium in that state in Australia. We're busy in negotiating with the South African government for funding on our activities in that country. And there's lots going on around the world you just don't see in the news. Now, we have a very clear view for a sustainable, clean global future. We know it's tough. We're not looking for easy solutions. Well, the irony is that this is an easy solution, but politically, it's been really driven the wrong way for a long time. So we have a lot of headwinds to overcome. But we're seeing that particularly with events that you've created, Ruben, which is fantastic. We're able to get the message out to more people just like this, very easily, very simply. And the message is that nuclear energy from fission needs to be done now. We can do it using thorium molten salt. The basis for our project is that we deliver thorium. That's what we. Here's a bit more detail on how we're doing it. I'll take a big corner where you see supply. We control the management and distribution of thorium all the way through, starting from supply, going anti-clockwise, processing, security, shipping, analysis, producing energy, handling the waste, and to the ultimate bioenergy. We're putting that on blockchain. We can do that. We can link the virtual world, the digital world, to the real world. Doing that, and by tokenizing it, I'll cover that next, we actually take the regulations. One thing about this project, guys, we're not avoiding the regulations that are very necessary. And it's just like the last 30 or 40 years of our civilization has benefited from the use of software and making systems in the digital form from the real world. We're doing the same thing with thorium. Now, we're producing a token, and that token is going to have three purposes, which are all very, very nicely linked together. The first is to raise funds. We can do that using the regulations of Liechtenstein, Switzerland, which gives us coverage for most of the world. It also enables us to produce a payment system using the token, so people who are participating in the network, doing the shipment or the security or the processing will be using the tokens for their payments, for their participation in the network, and that drives the value and the demand for the token. And ultimately, the token will be backed by Thorium, so we can actually exchange that token for energy when we are producing energy from Thorium, which may be 5 years, maybe 10 years away. We have a long-term project, guys. We're not just doing something for the next 6 months. So a bit of maths, 1 gram of thorium can produce about 24 megawatt hours of energy. That's a lot. It's about 2 tons of oil. And 1 gram of thorium, using rates, retail rates in, actually wholesale rates in Europe, that puts it at about 1,200 euros for every gram of thorium. That's the energy we can produce from 1 gram in a thorium molten salt burner. We're going to back each token with 0.232 grams of thorium. That's for every token. So we end up with about 280 euros worth of value out of every token in energy equivalents, which is fantastic. And that's not happening today. Today we're issuing tokens at 50 cents. When we do our work and we get the thorium into the hands of people who will be burning the thorium, that's the kind of prices we'll be looking at. So that's very exciting. Now, going to the next page, just a bit of the details on how the tokens will be distributed based on our early assessments of what we need to do. I won't go into the detail too much. Just if you have any questions on this page, we actually have it on our website in our pitch deck. So please go to that page and you can study this in detail. I don't like going into detail with such presentations like this because it just puts everyone to sleep. But that is available on our website. This is a very interesting chart. Now, we've had this in place since February this year. We have a sort of inside joke, not so funny anymore, but as the virus numbers started to increase, we launched our campaign on social media, and our Twitter numbers were increasing at the same rate as the virus numbers. Well, unfortunately, the virus has gone much further than that, and we've since slid our entire program out by about 6 months to take advantage to allow for that. So we are looking at establishing our regulatory framework and our token sale preparation from now on until the end of the year. We're busy doing that. We're also developing our prototype, our minimal viable product. We have a very good partnership underway for that work. Not to mention our work has also been negotiating with the likes of IBM for the details on our blockchain. Early next year, we'll have our token sale event. That will be followed by our product development, our full product development, which is probably going to take us about 18 months to do. And then we get into next year our real operations, or the operations of getting the thorium out into the world. We actually have two objectives in our project. One is to deliver thorium, and the other is to deliver the message of thorium molten salt as a source of energy. So we're very busy in different countries to discuss how we can change the laws, how we can promote thorium molten salt to produce energy. That's why we gave evidence recently at one of the governments in Australia on that topic. Again, these charts I'm showing now are on our website, on our pitch deck, so I do encourage you to go there and look at that in more detail. This is the plan. We have a pull strategy for our project. We will not be pushing so much the project because we're talking about a regulated material. The International Atomic Energy Agency, based in Vienna, is the world's watchdog on this material, on these kind of materials. We'll be modeling their regulations, putting them into the software and getting approval from the IAEA. We then go to governments around the world and we tell them, look, we can manage the process of bringing these fuels into your country all the way through to the energy burning, to the management of the waste as well. So we're really minimizing the effort that any country needs to go through to manage these fuels. And that's one of our big highlights. That's what we're doing. And that's a pull strategy, because when we're in those countries, we're telling them, look, We don't want you to insist that people use thorium molten salt burners in your country. We just want you to put it on your agenda so that it can survive or exist in a competitive basis with other alternatives such as coal, wind, solar, hydroelectric, etc. And that's, we believe in the viability and the feasibility of thorium molten salt. And I haven't got it here, but there's a very, very good chart which demonstrates the energy efficiency of molten salt. It's over, I think it's 2,000, well, I know exactly, the number is 2,000 to 1. That's the energy efficiency of thorium molten salt, compared to only 80 for the next best one, which is oil. Now, if you want to go even further, using more numbers, talking about wind and solar, they're less than 10. So they're incredibly energy ineffective and inefficient. That's why we're very confident in the economics of thorium molten salt once we overcome the political regimes and the regulatory hurdles that are stopping us or slowing us down now. And we're very happy with our progress in many countries in that respect. So we initially target countries worldwide. We have a number of target countries where we are getting progress in now. Once we've got a number of countries under our belt, we'll be focusing on Europe, where there's very interesting discussions are happening there, particularly in France, Netherlands, and Norway, Denmark, and even Germany now are really seriously looking at what they've got with their renewable plight. Their energy costs are twice that of France, and they're producing more CO2 than ever. So they've really gone the wrong way. It's Germany. So they're now relooking their energy system. So that's going to be 2022 for Europe. And then from 2022 onwards, we'll come back home to Switzerland, where the democracy there is one of the best in the world. I'm actually Australian by birth, and one of my reasons for moving to Switzerland is because of their democratic process. I love it. And we'll be ensuring every Swiss person gets to vote on how their country decides on how to use the funding, the nuclear funding they have now. Switzerland has 4 reactors on how they go forward into the future. And that's our worldwide focus, starting worldwide, going to Europe, and then focusing finally on Switzerland. What happens after that, we expect great results. Just 1 second. I need a few electrons for my laptop. So our network will be a primary source and distributor for thorium. We'll be a public market. Transactions will be occurring on the blockchain. We will have smart contracts. We'll have proof of compliance, which is very important for our project. And we'll also be compliant with the IAEA and any localized country compliant codes as well. Okay, our team is very experienced. We're well dispersed. We're very dedicated. A lot of us have been working on the project for no money since the virus has really stopped all our fundraising efforts. We've started that again now, and we're very ready to go. And you can see more of us on our website at the team. So that's our presentation. I'm just going to switch back to somewhere where I can see comments.
Okay, Jeremiah, thank you very much for your presentation. I think that the Brazilian audience now are aware of the Thorium Network, all your plan, this beautiful project that is coming in a few years. I know that there are a lot of work to do, but I know that you're taking seriously, and your team also. So it's a pleasure to have you presenting the Thorium Network and all the initiative here for the Brazilian audience. Thank you very much for sharing your time, for sharing your knowledge. It's a pleasure to have you here. I hope that in 2021, you can come to Brazil. Probably we're gonna have our Forum Block Master in person. So it will be a pleasure to receive you next year in person in Brazil.
Thank you, Rubens. Very much look forward to doing that.
Okay, thank you very much. We're gonna have a break now for 80 minutes break, and we come back in 80 minutes. Thank you, Jeremiah. We talk later, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye now.